All right, so you brought us a fascinating stack of book excerpts, all on men's health,
Yeah.
but particularly focused on heart health
Uh-huh.
and how, like, traditional masculinity,
Right?
can actually be a roadblock to that.
Yeah.
So we're calling this deep dive Reclaiming Masculinity for a Healthier Life.
Feel like it.
And it's packed with some insights that might surprise you, honestly.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one.
We'll uncover the hidden dangers of always, having to be stoic,
Yeah.
the power of actually being vulnerable,
Mm.
and how embracing, I guess, a healthier version of masculinity
Right.
can lead to a longer and more fulfilling life.
Absolutely.
And not just for you, but for everybody around you, too.
Yeah, for sure.
So one thing that really jumped out at me from these excerpts
Okay.
was that men's hearts
Yeah,
are actually physically different from women's hearts.
that's right.
I mean, not just, metaphorically, like, oh, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, that kind of thing.
Right.
But literally physically different.
Yeah, they're bigger. They have to work harder.
Yeah, bigger, they work harder.
Mm.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and that actually makes men more susceptible to certain heart conditions.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like we're starting off
Oh, okay.
with a slightly different playing field, so to
Mhm.
speak.
So right off the bat, there's this biological reality that
Yeah.
we need to be aware of, right?
Absolutely.
But then on top of that,
Uh-huh.
we've got this whole man-up mentality
Oh, yeah.
that can make things even trickier, right?
It's tough.
Like, it's this unspoken rule
Yeah.
that men just, shouldn't complain or show weakness,
Right.
admit when they're struggling, any of that stuff.
Don't show any emotion.
Yeah.
Be tough.
Tough it out, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's this, like, double bind of masculinity, right?
That's it.
Society tells us to be strong,
Yes.
stoic,
Hmm.
but then that same stoicism can prevent us from actually taking care of ourselves.
Exactly.
Like, it's wild because...
We end up ignoring warning signs,
Yeah.
putting off going to the doctor,
Yeah.
basically trying to power through things
Yeah.
that we really should be addressing.
Absolutely should be addressing head on.
Like, there's this one story in the excerpts
Okay.
about a guy named John,
Okay.
and he's like this super successful entrepreneur,
Wow.
like, picture of having it all.
Right.
But behind the scenes,
Yeah.
he's ignoring his health,
Uh-huh.
pushing himself to the limit,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, he has this major health scare.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, that's a wake-up call
Yeah.
for a lot of guys, right?
Sure.
It shows how this,
Mhm.
this tough guy facade
Right.
can literally be life-threatening.
Absolutely.
We think we're invincible,
Uh-huh.
but our bodies are sending us signals.
They are.
We just got to slow down and pay attention.
Right.
Get help when we need it.
Yeah, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, it's interesting because these excerpts
Mhm.
don't just say, like, man up and go to the doctor.
Right.
They actually, like, dig deeper into what's going on emotionally and how that plays into our physical health.
It kind of ties together.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
They talk about how ignoring our emotion
Right.
can create this buildup of stress
Mhm.
that really takes a toll on the body,
Yeah.
especially the heart.
Especially the heart.
The American Heart Association
Mhm.
actually found that high stress levels
Yeah.
are directly linked to a greater risk of heart disease.
It's true.
It's like all that pressure to be the strong, silent type.
Right.
It can backfire in a big
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
which makes me think about how I deal with stress,
Uh-huh.
I know I tend to just keep pushing through,
Right.
tell myself I'll relax later,
Yeah.
but maybe that's not the best approach.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
It's interesting because these sources, they suggest a different way of dealing with stress.
All right.
They talk about something called emotional intelligence.
Okay, so what does that actually mean? It sounds kind of, I don't know, abstract.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about being in tune with your own emotions
Okay.
and understanding how they impact
Mm-hmm.
your actions
Yeah.
and your relationships.
Yeah.
It's like being able to recognize when you're getting stressed
Uh-huh.
and then choosing healthy ways to cope with it
Right.
rather than just letting it build up,
Okay.
explode.
So not just ignoring it.
Right.
Or pretending it's not there,
No.
but actually acknowledging it.
Yes.
And figuring out how to manage it
Exactly.
in a healthy way.
In a healthy way. That's it.
Okay.
They give this example of,
Yeah.
John, the guy who dealt with stress
Right.
by hitting the gym even harder,
Right.
which seems,
Yeah.
manly and proactive.
Yeah. On the surface.
Yeah. But it was just adding more stress to his system.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they contrast him with Mike,
Okay.
who learned to manage his stress
Okay.
through mindfulness techniques,
Mm-hmm.
like meditation.
Oh, wow.
And it sounds almost counterintuitive,
Yeah, it does.
but maybe that's what true strength is all about.
Interesting.
You know, being able to slow down,
Mm-hmm.
tune in,
Yeah.
take care of yourself from the inside out.
So we've got these biological differences, this societal pressure to be tough,
Yeah,
and this whole emotional component.
it's a lot.
It's like a perfect storm brewing for our hearts.
It is.
Where do we even begin to unpack all of this?
Well, that's where these excerpts get really interesting.
Okay.
They start talking about how we can reclaim masculinity
Okay.
for a healthier life.
All right.
It's about redefining what it means to be a man
Mm-hmm.
in a way that actually supports our well-being,
Yeah.
not undermines it.
And speaking of redefining things,
Yeah?
these sources have a surprising take on testosterone.
Okay.
You know, that hormone
right.
we usually associate with masculinity.
Uh-huh.
They say it's not as straightforward
Right.
as we might think
Yeah.
when it comes to heart health.
For sure.
So there's this misconception that more testosterone is always better,
Yeah,
but it's actually more nuanced than that.
absolutely.
Testosterone's essential for heart health, especially for maintaining, healthy blood vessels
Right.
and muscle mass.
Mm-hmm.
But if levels get too high,
Yeah,
it can actually increase the risk of heart problems.
that's right.
Wait, so you're saying
Yeah.
that high testosterone can be a bad thing?
It can be. Yeah.
That doesn't sound very manly.
It's not about being manly or not.
Okay.
It's about understanding the science,
All right.
you know?
Uh-huh.
A study from the University of Edinburgh
Okay.
found that men with low testosterone
Yeah.
are actually more likely to develop heart disease. But on the flip side,
Yeah.
too much testosterone can be harmful as well.
So it's all about balance.
It's all about balance.
Okay, so how do we strike that balance?
Yeah.
Is it all about diet and exercise?
Those definitely play a role,
Okay.
but these sources also highlight the importance
Yes.
of something that might surprise you.
All right. What's that?
Relationships.
Relationships.
Yeah.
How does that fit into the picture?
Well, they make a clear distinction
Okay.
between healthy relationships,
Uh-huh.
which can be incredibly beneficial for heart health,
Okay.
and toxic relationships,
Mm-hmm.
which can actually increase the
Right.
risk of heart problems.
So having someone to talk to, someone who supports you, can actually be good for your heart?
It can be, yeah.
That makes sense.
Makes sense.
But what about those toxic relationships?
Right.
How do they damage our hearts?
Well, the sources talk about how these relationships
Mhm.
filled with conflict
Yeah.
and negativity
Right.
create chronic stress
Yeah.
and anxiety.
Right.
And as we've seen,
Yeah.
that chronic stress
Mm-hmm.
is a major risk factor for heart disease.
So it's not just about being in a relationship.
Right.
It's about being in the right kind of relationship.
Exactly.
One that supports you,
Yes.
nourishes you, not one that drains you,
Right.
stresses you out.
That's it.
So where do we go from here?
Well, that's a great question.
We've talked about biology,
Yep.
societal expectations, emotions, relationships.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
What's the next step?
Well, that's what we'll explore
Okay.
in the next part of our deep dive.
Right.
We'll delve into some practical strategies
Okay.
for taking control of your health,
Mm-hmm.
challenging outdated beliefs,
Okay.
and creating a lifestyle
Okay.
that supports your heart
Yeah.
and your overall well-being.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Okay. So we talked about a lot of the challenges men face when it comes to heart health,
Yeah.
that pressure to be tough, the biological factors, the emotional side of things, even the impact of our relationships. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
But it feels like we've only scratched the surface here. Where do we go from here?
That's the question.
What are some concrete steps we can take to
Yeah.
actually reclaim our health?
Well, this is where these sources really start to shine.
Okay.
They move beyond just identifying the problems and offer some practical solutions.
Right.
And one of the most surprising things
Okay.
that they emphasize is the idea of leadership.
Leadership.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about heart health.
Right.
Not, running a company or something.
Yeah, no. It's not about being the boss
Okay.
in the traditional sense.
Right.
It's more about taking ownership of your own well-being.
Okay.
They argue that the same qualities
Mm-hmm.
that makes someone a good leader, responsibility, vision, the ability to inspire,
Uh-huh.
are also essential for leading yourself
Okay.
towards a healthier life.
So it's about taking charge of our health,
Exactly.
making conscious choices,
Uh,
setting an example for others.
that's it.
I like that.
Yeah, the sources actually highlight a study
Oh, wow.
in the Journal of Men's Health
Okay.
that found that men who displayed strong leadership qualities
Yeah.
were more likely to engage in healthy behaviors.
Interesting.
It's as if taking control of your health
Yeah.
is a form of leadership in itself.
It's a pretty empowering way to think about it.
It is.
It's not about waiting for someone else to tell us what to do,
Right.
give us permission.
Exactly.
It's recognizing that we have the power
Yeah.
to make choices
Right.
that impact our well-being.
And it's about realizing
Yeah.
that our choices don't just affect us.
Right.
They can ripple out
Mhm.
and influence those around us.
Okay.
Our families, our
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
even our communities.
That's a good point.
When we prioritize our health,
Mm-hmm.
we're setting an example for others to do the same.
They even share the story of Mark,
Oh, yeah.
an entrepreneur who decided to,
Mm.
make some changes to his lifestyle. He
Yeah.
didn't do anything drastic,
Yeah.
just started with small steps,
Yeah.
taking the stairs instead of the elevator,
Mhm.
cutting back on sugary drinks.
Right.
But over time,
Yeah.
those small changes added up
Did
to
matter.
big improvements in his health.
That's right.
Mark's story is a perfect example
Yes.
of how we don't need to overhaul our entire lives overnight.
Absolutely not.
It's about making sustainable choices,
Yeah.
step by step,
Yep.
being patient with the process.
That's the key.
It's that leadership mindset,
Totally.
recognizing that we're in this for the long haul.
So long haul, yeah.
Speaking of making changes,
Yeah.
one area that seems particularly important
Okay.
and maybe a little intimidating
Yeah.
is diet.
It's a big one.
There's so much information out there.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard to know what to believe,
This can be overwhelming.
especially when you consider all the traditional ideas about what a man's diet should look like.
Right, exactly. The
Yeah.
whole meat and potatoes image.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But if we're trying to be heart healthy,
Uh-huh.
doesn't that mean giving up all the foods we enjoy?
Well, that's the question, isn't
Like,
it?
can you be a real man
Yeah.
and still eat a salad?
That's where these sources challenge those outdated notions. They point out that a manly diet
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be synonymous
Okay.
with an unhealthy one.
All right.
It's not about depriving yourself.
Yeah.
It's about making informed choices
Okay.
that fuel your body and support your heart.
So what does a heart-healthy, manly diet actually look like?
Well, it's more about balance and variety
Okay.
than strict rules.
All right.
These sources emphasize the importance
Yeah.
of incorporating plenty of fruits,
Okay.
vegetables, and whole grains into your meals.
Okay.
And they don't say you have to completely give up meat.
All right.
It's about choosing leaner cuts
Okay.
and watching portion sizes.
They even tell the story of John,
Oh, yeah.
who used to be a big meat eater,
Uh-huh.
but switched to a healthier diet
Right.
after experiencing some heart problems.
Yeah, makes sense.
And the interesting thing is,
What's that?
he didn't just improve his heart health,
Uh-huh.
he also lost weight and felt more energized.
Oh, that's awesome.
John's story shows that eating for your heart doesn't have to mean sacrificing flavor or satisfaction.
Right.
It's about discovering new foods,
Uh-huh.
experimenting with different recipes,
Yeah.
and finding ways to enjoy meals
Yeah.
that are both delicious and nutritious.
That's it.
It seems like reclaiming masculinity in this context is
Mhm.
about expanding our definition of
Yeah.
what's manly when it comes to food.
Absolutely.
It's not about sticking to outdated stereotypes.
Right.
It's about making choices that support our well-being
Uh-huh.
and allow us to live, full, active lives.
That's the goal.
Absolutely.
It's about taking care of ourselves
Mhm.
so we can be the best versions of ourselves.
Okay, so we've talked about leadership and diet.
Yeah.
What about exercise?
Oh, that's a big one, too.
It seems like that's another area where there are a lot of preconceived notions about what's manly.
You're right.
Yeah.
There's often this emphasis on weightlifting
Yeah.
and strength training
Right.
as the manly way to exercise.
Right.
But these sources encourage men
Okay.
to think beyond those traditional ideas
Mm-hmm.
and explore a wider range of activities.
So it's not about trying to fit into a stereotype
No, not at all.
of what a man's workout should look like.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about finding activities you genuinely enjoy
Uh-huh.
and that challenge you in different ways.
Okay.
They talk about the importance of incorporating cardio,
Yeah.
like running, swimming, or even dancing,
Oh, wow.
to improve heart health
Okay.
and boost overall fitness.
They also emphasize the importance of listening to your body,
Yeah, that's crucial.
avoiding injuries,
Huh.
taking rest days when needed,
Absolutely.
which honestly sounds a lot more sensible
Right.
than pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion every time you work out.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Knowing when to push yourself and when to take a break.
And this brings us back to the idea of emotional well-being.
Yeah, it all ties together.
We've talked about how stress can impact our hearts
Uh-huh.
and how emotional intelligence can help us manage that stress.
Right.
But what else can we do
Well, that's a great question.
to take care of our emotional health?
These sources are pretty clear
Okay.
that men need to move beyond that old school mentality of suppressing emotions,
Right.
just toughing it out.
Yeah.
They argue that bottling up feelings can be incredibly harmful, not just to our mental health,
Right.
but also to our physical health.
It's all connected.
It is.
They even tell the story of John, who ignored his stress and anxiety for years until it literally manifested as a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
It's a stark reminder that we can't just compartmentalize our emotions,
Right.
pretend they don't exist.
No.
They'll find a way to make themselves known
It would.
one way or another.
One way or another.
And it's not just about avoiding negative emotions.
Right.
It's also about cultivating positive ones.
Exactly.
The sources highlight practices like mindfulness, gratitude,
Yeah.
and self-compassion
Those are big ones.
as ways to promote overall well-being.
And those might seem, I don't know, a bit touchy-feely.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah.
mindfulness and gratitude,
Yeah.
those sound a bit,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How do they actually benefit our hearts?
Well, it might seem counterintuitive,
Okay.
but these practices can have a profound impact on our physical health.
Right.
Mindfulness helps us stay present
Uh-huh.
and grounded, reducing anxiety and stress.
Okay.
Gratitude shifts our focus
Yeah.
to the positive aspects of our lives,
Right.
boosting our mood and resilience.
Okay.
And self-compassion allows us to be kinder to ourselves, reducing feelings of shame and self-criticism,
Yeah.
which can actually contribute
Wow.
to stress and heart problems.
So it's like we're training our minds
Yeah.
to be more positive and resilient, which in turn has a positive effect on our hearts.
That's the idea.
That's amazing.
It is.
These sources also talk about the importance of expressing our emotions
Yes.
in healthy ways.
Healthy ways. That's key.
It's not about becoming overly emotional,
Right.
losing control,
No.
but about finding constructive outlets
Exactly.
for our feelings.
They suggest things like talking to a trusted friend or family member,
Yeah.
journaling, or even seeking professional help if needed.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we don't have to go through things alone,
Yeah.
and that asking for help is a sign of strength.
That's a big one.
It's
It is.
not weakness.
Not weakness at all.
It's about breaking free from that old,
Yeah.
strong, silent type stereotype
Right.
and embracing a more authentic way of being.
Exactly.
And that authenticity is a key part of reclaiming masculinity for a healthier life.
It is.
It's about redefining what it means to be a man in a way that honors our full selves,
Yes.
our strengths, our vulnerabilities, our emotions, our need for connection.
That's it.
It's about recognizing
Yeah.
that taking care of our hearts isn't just about diet and exercise.
No.
It's about cultivating a lifestyle
Right.
that supports our physical, emotional, and
Yeah.
mental well-being.
That's it. All three.
And it's about realizing
Yeah.
that this journey of reclaiming our health.
Isn't just for us, but
Right.
it's for our partners, our children, our communities.
Absolutely.
It's about creating a world where men can live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives.
More fulfilling lives. That's the goal. So
Wow, this deep dive has really been a journey.
it is
We've covered so much ground,
a lot of ground.
from the biological differences in men's hearts to the societal pressures we face, the importance of emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
and even how our relationships play a role in our heart health.
Right. It's all connected.
It's clear that reclaiming masculinity for a healthier life
Yeah.
isn't just about one thing.
No.
It's about all these pieces fitting together.
It's a holistic approach.
It is.
Recognizing that our physical, emotional, and mental well-being are all interconnected.
It's fascinating.
You can't really address one without considering the others.
So these sources are full of insights and practical tips.
You are.
But if we had to distill it all down
Right.
to a few key takeaways for the listener,
Yeah.
what would they be?
Well, I think the most important message
Yeah.
is that vulnerability is not the opposite of strength.
Okay.
In fact, it's often a prerequisite for true strength.
I like that.
Recognizing when you need help, whether it's physically,
Yeah.
emotionally, or in terms of social support,
Right.
is a sign of self-awareness and courage,
Right.
not weakness.
And that ties directly into the theme of leadership, right?
It does.
It's not about being the loudest voice in the room.
Right.
It's about leading yourself towards a healthier life.
That's it.
Taking responsibility for your own well-being, making conscious choices,
Yeah.
setting a positive example for others.
Those are the key ingredients.
And it's not just about physical health, right?
No, not at all.
These sources are adamant
Yeah.
that men need to prioritize their mental and emotional well-being as well.
It's all part of the package.
They encourage us to develop emotional intelligence, find healthy ways to express and manage our emotions, and seek help when needed.
It's okay to ask for help.
It is. That's a big one.
It is a big one.
And when it comes to diet and exercise, these sources challenge us
They do.
to rethink some of those old school notions about what's manly.
I love that.
It's not about fitting into a stereotype.
Right.
It's about finding what works for you, what makes you feel good, and what supports your overall health.
Exactly.
They encourage us to explore a variety of activities.
Yeah, mix it up.
To focus on both strength and cardiovascular health.
Absolutely.
And to find that balance.
That balance, that's key.
Between pushing ourselves and listening to our bodies.
Yes, that's so important.
We even talked about how fatherhood,
Right.
while demanding,
Uh-huh.
can be a catalyst for positive change in men's lives.
That can be, yeah.
It can shift our priorities,
Yeah.
inspire us to make healthier choices,
Right.
and even lead to hormonal changes that benefit our hearts.
There's some science behind that.
It's amazing. It's like this built-in mechanism
It's pretty cool.
to help us step up.
It is.
It's a reminder that taking care of ourselves isn't just about us.
Right.
It's about being there for the people we love,
Mm.
setting a good example for our children,
Absolutely.
and leaving a legacy of health and vitality
I like that.
for future generations.
Powerful stuff.
So after all this,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you hope listeners will take away from this deep dive
Okay.
and apply to their own lives?
Well, I hope they'll remember
Yeah,
that they have the power to reclaim masculinity for a healthier life.
that's good.
It starts with challenging those outdated expectations,
Mm.
embracing vulnerability as a strength,
Yeah.
and making choices that support their well-being.
It's a journey, not a destination, right?
It is. It's a journey.
And every step they take in the right direction is a victory.
Every step counts.
It's about recognizing that true strength comes from taking care of ourselves, mind, body, and spirit,
Whole package.
being the best versions of ourselves
Yeah.
for ourselves and for everyone who cares about us.
And it all starts with one small step.
Right.
What's one change you can make today to start reclaiming your health
Yeah,
and redefining masculinity on your own terms?
that's a good question.
It could be as simple as going for a walk,
Yeah.
calling a friend, or swapping out that sugary soda for a glass of water.
Those are great starting points.
Remember, you don't have to do it all at once.
All right.
Start small,
Mm-hmm.
be consistent,
Yeah.
and celebrate your progress along the way.
Your heart will thank you for it.
Absolutely.
So that's it for this deep dive
Yeah,
into reclaiming masculinity for a healthier life.
it's been a good one.
We hope you found it informative,
Yeah.
insightful,
Yeah.
and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Inspiring for
Now
you.
go out there and make those positive changes.
One step at a time.
One heartbeat at a time.
That's it.